Okay, that's the title of our event today. Introductions. Let Ben introduce himself, and obviously find out. I used to be a fairly senior public servant. Mr. Newman did me a real favour. He retired me early, which has given me the opportunity to spend a lot more time being and working with Ben and with my wife Kathy. It is a habit of a lifetime. I can't talk without acknowledging the traditional owners of the land we gather on, the Turrbal people, and paying my respects to the elders past and present. Now I can talk. Okay. A lot of this I think I'm just going to get you guys through yourself. Ben started to write poetry at school. He also joined the AGOSCI. His first quote is him. What he got out of joining into the choir. Words and how they could sound and how they could influence. And what his teacher at the time, which I said, was knowing how important the words were to him. I was hopeful the lyrics of the songs would inspire him and encourage his creativity. So he was encouraged by a very special group of special teachers, and the result was he entered into a national competition, the Dorothea McKellar Award. And that's a quote from one of the presenter, the award presenter, a young lady named Chloe Cavity, and she was prize presenter. And the other words she said about Ben's poem was just what that poem was. This is a poem, one too many, and it is read by Wendy, one of his teachers.
Ben, although being a brilliant writer, is unable to speak verbally, so I'll be reading his poem for him. As you can imagine, this offers a lot of frustrations for him, and the poem will relate some of those as we read it. Music is my friend, but also my enemy. When you can't stop the music, it becomes an obsession. Such a distraction to a happy life. I wish the music would go away, but probably it never will. Music, always there. I think music needs to become my friend, as it's always my companion. Like a companion who never leaves your side, who stays with you everywhere you go, day and night, night and day. How can you become my friend? Music in my head. Like a house is not a home until you make it one, so I must learn good things to do with the music.
Okay. Again, Ben's words are there about working with some wonderful people to explain who they are. Beck is a music therapist who worked in partnership with Jane, who is an esteemed and acknowledged speech pathologist. Beck and Jane would develop clever sessions to work with Ben, which he would totally ignore on occasions because he wanted to write a song. And some miracle occurred in the following week, which was Beck would have found some music to go with it. So that was the start of moving from straight poetry to song. Matt's also speaking. He's more of a mate than anything else. He's worked Ben. He's worked with Ben over the years and now visits as a friend for coffee and author of the English Premier Properly, particularly in Liverpool. Jono is Matt's brother. He worked with Steve in the health sector when they were not formally jointly forming bands with various esoteric names. One such band was Banana Night. Ben wrote them and they put his song Flagship to music. It was played on local radio and made available for download on the internet. We'll talk about Harley in a moment, but first the flagship.
And so the flagship it rolls on by, watching lazy children cry. So the flagship rolls on in, watching as the sinners sin. Longing evenings alone on the rock, wishing that your golden voice haunts speechless, is bound to be played for all the world to finally be days.
But there was a problem. They were writing the music, Ben wasn't involved. It was, again, his words being put to music. I mentioned Harley before. I've gone through him. Harley was, well, Ben's quotes first. Three goes yourself. Harley was a marvellous man. He had a passion for kids, he had a passion for music, and a social conscience the size of the universe. He also had his demons, and we'll miss him a lot. Getting the language and the rules. Belinda is a music therapist who works with Beck, and hence with Ben, particularly on Beck takes periodic maternity leave. Nancy's a music teacher. When Ben told her that the piano scared him because it had too many notes, she said, Ben, it's got 8 notes. They just repeated and repeated and repeated across the keyboard. Just the pitch changes. So this led to a bit of theory, what notes are called and all that sort of stuff. In fact, it's 8 notes, basically. And the mathematics of music. And Ben got it. He got it very quickly. He got it almost instinctively. So the rest of the time, our journey flows from that event. Those events, sorry. Because understanding led to a fierce desire in Ben to do. And while he had input to Harley's work, he now wanted to actually write his own music. Adam's Belinda's brother, actually. And he's a music freak, and he uses all on keyboards with funny bars instead of notes and things. So he's great for pre-IT generation people like myself and Kathy. He can really play around with things and help to guide us. When it came time for us to work out what we were going to do with something Ben had written a little while ago called Minute Silence, we turned to a music teacher, singing teacher named Bev, who had been, Ben has a twin sister, Sarah, been Sarah's singing teacher and friend for many years. She has come in, she sat down, put up with Ben wandering off and doing his thing, and she started talking to him about how to write songs, and she spotted that because Ben is non-verbal, he had no idea of the limitations on the human voice. So the original Minute Silence had notes that were way too high for my wobbly tenor and way too low for Sarah's soprano, and just enough in the middle to keep us interested. So we had to tweak that original piece of music with Ben, and we're now in a situation of bringing it all together. He's also now got something called a MIDI, which is a music instrument digital interface. There you go. It's actually a keyboard and it's got all sorts of knobs and things on it, and you can do fantastic stuff. The most fantastic stuff you can do with it is you can link it to software so that as you hit a key, it turns up as a note. You tell it first what note on a music sheet. Sorry about that. So now we can do that, and Ben can get instant feedback because his playing speed is note, 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 note. But you can play it back in 3/4 or 6/8 or whatever, and it'll play at the appropriate speed, and he can hear it. And you can play it in a range of instruments. We do tend to stick with piano because that's what he's actually hitting the keys on. But now we get instant scoring of the music and feedback. I want to just play quickly. Oh, sorry, that's coming now. This is how we used to compose.
So what do you want there? Move on.
Okay, and that's same activity taken from camera above.
Here the people are aware, so even if they stare, and then you went to least, and then you got a bit lost. So what do you want there? Move up a bit. At least with there is scope. That's lovely. Okay.
Now let's move on to the MIDI, and I want you to particularly look at the separation between Ben's hand and mine. When I'm facilitating keying, quite often it takes a lot of slow process. Keying messages and things, and when I'm doing music with him, I try and work like that, so he needs resistance and he comes back up to my hand and down. Okay, let's just play with the keyboard then. I'll hear your music coming up.
Oh, it's that.
You see them coming up on the screen there, Ben? I would not know one note on the piano. I'm absolutely hopeless. A bit like Ben used to be. It's just too wide and too complicated. That, I think, is brilliant because it also gives me hope that one day he'll key on a typewriter keyboard with that same level of independence, and that's what every facilitated communication student is working towards. Alright, now we come to the bit where if you've got earmuffs, you might need them. You should put it on. This is Minute Silence. Ben wrote the lyrics for this song in 2012. He says he's nearly finished the music, except now with the fancy software, we keep trying new instruments. And we started off with two pianos. And now we try tuba for the bass and French horns for the upper register. We've thrown in drums, we've taken drums out, but it's easiest and simplest to do the latest version just with the piano.
Have a minute's silence for the silent in our world, trying hard not to be hurled toward the scrap heap in the rain. Will you take that minute's silence and try to understand why there's difference in our land that brings about pain? us be filled, let's set them free. Ponder the existence in a bubble you can see. Nothing appears but things refine. Rainbows in the sunlight, they do shine. And we have that minute silence and turn it to a momentous moment beyond hope. Here the people are aware, so even if they stare, at least with understanding there is scope. No moment is able to be taken back, so forward we must aim. For fulfillment in our lives won't be the same. And we have a minute's silence for the silent in our world, trying hard not to be hurled toward the scrap heap in the rain. Will you take that minute's silence and try to understand why there's difference in our land that brings about pain?
So there you have it. Words by Ben. Melody by Ben. Left Hand by Ben in consultation with Linda, Adam and Deb. A minute's silence. Cover last week's slides. These are Ben's issues. Side needs no explanation. Next, Deb's working with him. And she said, you make me think. And his response was, I try to get people to think about what my world is all about. I've often thought it must be like in Ben's world, usually when he is in a low spot. Also wonder what it would be like to spend one day in his shoes, not being able to speak, or write, or type without facilitation, and being dependent on someone else for communication to satisfy even the most basic of needs: hunger, thirst, assistance to treat pain. Perhaps each of us should try it out, just for a day. I have a wonderful wife and 3 children. Sam, who's a high-flying corporate lawyer in Melbourne. Sarah, Ben's twin, who's about to complete a combined law journalism degree and start her own military career. And Ben, who's my hero, because he just never gives up. Thank you.